The time by Sagicor is
7 o'clock.
With the president.
So the chairs are rebroke and they say that we set and jamming. So no foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk in nonsense. But the majority are with me decide we not going to run. Because now is the time to show we patriotism. So we consolidate. Yes, that is now.
We did say a standing ovation kind of night, and thank you to our audience for delivering once again. So the tributes do continue. We now invite to the stage award-winning Barbadian fine artist, Shane Eastman, who's actually the grandson of the late Antiguan cricketer Sir Sidney Walling, to join us as West Indies cricket legend Sir Clive Lloyd makes a special presentation to the president of Cricket West Indies. This gesture, made on behalf of the heroes of the 1975 team, expresses their heartfelt appreciation for the hosting of this evening's commemorative event. Please welcome artist Shane Eastman. And we welcome back once again Sir Clive Lloyd. And do invite President Dr. Shallow back on the stage for Sir Clive to make the presentation.
Special piece to keep, of course. I just think back of 1975 and what it would be like to sit in that dressing room with all those personalities. As a former player myself, that's probably an education in itself.
Well, I would say the brief moment that we were all kind of huddled on the stage, I heard a little bit of that banter, and the guys, they still have, I see some laughter there. I did hear, so I see that they still have their sense of humor and camaraderie, so it's wonderful to see that there's still a team after all these years, and brotherhood for sure.
Now let's give them another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Our champion 1975 World Cup winning team. Now, let's rewind the clock. The year, 1975. The day, June 21st. The stage, Lords. The stakes, the first ever Cricket World Cup final. The West Indies, bold, brilliant, and ready to conquer. At 50 for 3, a man named Clive Lloyd walked to the crease and carved his name into history.
Oh, what bad luck that was. Played a magnificent shot, tread on his wicket. And that's it, go behind, and there's a flick. Not the greatest of shots.
And it's a good catch by Rodney Marsh. The new batsman coming in now is Clive Lloyd, the West Indian captain.
So you have to remember that the West Indies team were batting, I think it was 50 for 3. And he came in and played with such...
Down to the ground, superb shot there by Lloyd. And really hammered that square before, and there's no way you can bowl to a man like Clive Lloyd when he's in this sort of form. Went away to mid-wicket, 4 more, he's found the gap so beautifully. That's hoisted away.
I've always said that if you put in the effort, that you will do well. And the only time that success comes before work is in the dictionary. So you've got to put in the work.
And what a delightful exhibition this has been by Clive Lloyd. You couldn't really wish to see a better 100 than that in any form of cricket.
He made a century in 1975 of 80-odd deliveries. We're talking about 50 years ago.
And he's bowled it. And they possibly think that the cup is now theirs. That's a critical wicket there for Clive Lloyd to take.
Who we are as West Indian cricketers and the style of play that we have is pretty much an extension of, you know, what we saw from Sir Clive Lloyd in that 1975 World Cup.
Sir Clive was an exceptional leader, and the legacy he left, you know, so Vivian Richards, Richie Richardson, all the guys down to myself, we trying to follow.
Oh, there we go. And the final day at Lord's. What a day in history this was. The voice in the commentator's box was none other than Joseph Reds Pereira and Tony Cozier. Well, at that time, I wasn't born just yet, but I have heard countless stories of how the entire Caribbean listened, ears glued to the radio, ball by ball.
First runs of the day by Fredericks. Oh, well, what bad luck that was.
We'd lost a couple of early wickets. I think it was 3 we had lost. And I was left with Rohan Kanai.
Nicholson hook shot out of the ground.
Key one to Clive Lloyd. Kenai has broken the hole.
And we sort of repaired the situation. We held on, we batted, we added 140 odd or something like that.
You couldn't really wish to see a better 100 than that in any form of cricket. What a glorious shot. Up goes the hat, it's 50 now to Rohan Kanai. It's the end of the West Indian innings. Their score standing on 291 for 8.
It wasn't an easy run of such because the Australians don't give up that easily.
It's a short one, a great hook shot there by Alan Turner. And a terrific shot. And very close, yes, he's run him out.
This must be a run out here. He must be out. Richards again. Call him, and that, I should think, is just about the end.
To listen to the stories and the impact that a West Indies cricket match had. You know, it created a buzz. You know, it made families happy, it made people happy, it made so many West Indians all across the world feel a sense of pride.
I think it was a benchmark for our cricket. You know, it's inspiration for all of us, whoever wanted to play this game. And I think that laid the platform for what we're trying to achieve and the legacy we're trying to follow and build for our own.
Yes, round of applause for that West Indies team of 1975. And, you know, it's such a great night of celebration as I look all around this elegantly dressed room. I look to my left, and if there was a prize for the best dress, it'll be hard to pick. I see the West Indies female cricketers there, Krishma Ramarak, dressed elegantly. Janilia Glasgow in that hat. That is a winner. No one tops that. Shakira Selman walked in here, and I'm seeing a lot of pace. I saw Fidel Edwards here. And look, sitting right here, Joel Big Bird Garner. Don't get up. I want to be the tallest man in the room for once in my life. 1979 World Cup winner, 5 for 38 at Lord's, Joel Big Bird Garner. Joel, turn this way for me. Let the camera see that handsome face and just give me a snippet into that performance in the final. 1979, what do you have to say?
We've had good times, and I think that the fun of it is to have and remain friends with all the people that you've played with. Not only admiring the ones before you, but also playing with them and then, you know, bringing on some of the youngsters after you.
Standing on the shoulders of giants, and that's saying a lot about Joel. He was the tallest of them all. Let's move on now to another performance coming up next, a voice that equals parts power and poetry, much like West Indies cricket batting. We know you're not going to be disappointed. With her voice, it will take you to an unbelievable height somewhere over the rainbow. Please welcome Sheehan.
What you did for fun?
Running. I love running. From I was a little girl, I remember that everything I do, I would run. And as a result, my mom made me the child of choice to be sent to the supermarket. Was it Rio or was it Beijing World Championship? I ran out of my lane. I didn't hit anybody, so I got the finals. I ran my heart out and I got bronze. I make sure that the last thing I do on the track is pray. Always put the race in God's hand. And by doing that, whatever the result is, I can be at peace.
10 jumping jacks.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, you better work. 5, 6.
Tonight in CVM News, JLP leader warns his members and supporters third term not guaranteed. Multiple fatalities in Clarendon crash. Road safety advocates issue another warning. Misconceptions about being a detective in the JCF addressed. In Inspire Jamaica, the willpower to resist, easier said than done. And in sports, soft power behind Jamaican athletes' recruitment by Turkey. Hello from Kingston, Jamaica. This is CVM News for Sunday, June 22, 2025. Coming to you at this time only for today. I'm Carolyn Brown. You are not entitled to a third term in government. A caution warning from the Jamaica Labour Party leader Andrew Holness to Labourites as he acknowledges with disappointment how some people feel that some basic needs have still not been met. More in this report from Damon Phillips.
Times an election is in the air, and as it weighs in the minds of politicians and all interested, the JLP leader Andrew Holness is sounding the alarm to get ready. But no announcement, walking onto the podium with a bell, just a taunt. Only a mere reminder on the day that the bell is symbolic.
But you also know that when the teacher is ready for classes to resume, when the principal is ready to call back the children, principal owes for the bell.
Speaking at the Clarendon North Western Constituency Conference held at the Edwin Allen High School, Mr. Holness warned that securing a third term may not be easy.
The third term is never an easy undertaking. It must never be felt that the third term is an entitlement.
And as such, implored party members to find solutions to the problems being experienced by Jamaicans.
As Labourites, we must be cognizant of the challenges we face as we seek to continue the mission of changing Jamaica for the better. Because even amongst us, there are those who are frustrated, dissatisfied, disillusioned, and will still put on a good face.
Mr. Holness wasn't fooling himself about the numerous Jamaicans still bemoaning lack of basic needs, including good roads and water, which still escape citizens in the year 2025. Mr. Holness sought to console supporters, telling them they can still place their trust in the party, meeting their needs and what matters most to them.
We respect your views. We hear your complaint. But more than that, we have demonstrated that we know how to fix it.
Warren Newby was endorsed and will be going up against the PNP's Richard Azan, who won the seat in 2002, 2011 and 2016. The Clarendon Northwest seat has been hotly contested, swinging back and forth between the JLP and the PNP since 2007. The seat is traditionally a JLP stronghold. For CVM News, I'm Damon Phillips.
Still in Clarendon, it's been another weekend of tragedy on the roads. Several people died and others were left nursing injuries from a motor vehicle crash. Among the dead, an 8-year-old girl whose death has stained the minds of some stakeholders who are demanding a shift in the country's road culture. Here's more from Nika Lewis.
The writing is on the wall. If Jamaicans near and far do not act now to stem the carnage on the country's star, then the gains of the past few months in 2025 will be eroded come December. A grim gift for the holidays.
The police report this morning was very disturbing. 3 precious Jamaican lives were lost yesterday in broad daylight at 9:50. This happened in Mitchelltown in Clarendon. The number of fatalities for this year is now 181, down 9% compared to last year. But if you continue at this rate,
Dr. Jones notes the 365 road deaths last year will be surpassed if something dramatic is not done to reduce fatal crashes. He notes with remorse the passing of 2 children, an 8-year-old girl on Saturday and a 16-year-old boy, in 2 separate incidents days apart. He is demanding a culture change.
we need to create a culture that says to the nation, just slow down. Just slow down. Speeding without regard for road condition is the #1 cause for crashes, for fatal crashes in this country. Followed by failing to stay in your lane. And the things that we have at our disposal to recommend to and make people slow down are not very many. One is that we have to help the police to enforce the law and to provide them with equipment as much as they need.
Added to that, the doctor is prescribing more speed cameras not just for the corporate area, but in rural parts that can capture infractions and help track and ticket offenders. That's in addition to enforcement of the demerit point system.
We don't want to wait until people die or suffer terrible injuries before we warn them. The private sector needs to come on board. Civil society needs to come on board. We've already spoken about the role of government in all of this. We need to examine carefully the reality that of all the road users that contribute to motor vehicle crashes and fatalities in the country, only one single group has declined in numbers since the start of the year, and that is those riding motorcycles. 64 died last year, 50 for this year. All the others, pedestrians, pedal cyclists, private motorcar passengers and drivers, the numbers have gone up.
The NRSC Vice Chairman shares the declines are largely due to the focused efforts of stakeholders under the National Helmet Wearing Coalition. He's urging all Jamaicans to join in boosting initiatives in other road user groups. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force has offered insight and clarity around some of the biggest misconceptions about investigations and solving cases. Detectives weigh in on the very touchy issues in this report.
Detectives wasting little time making it clear that the pace of an investigation is dependent on several factors. They contend much patience needs to be exercised even when everything is seemingly falling into place to facilitate a speedy resolution to a case.
Sometimes there are some cases that takes months or even years before they are solved. You have some cases that even go cold for many years before an active lead is then found and those cases are solved.
It is a lot more. It requires dedication, it requires commitment, and it requires a little of what I like to boast about, a passion. If you don't have a passion for what you do, you don't do it effectively.
The detectives in the JCF, though, coming a long way in using advanced technology to help with problematic cases. The JCF, through this expo, is sensitizing citizens to a few of the equipment currently being used by the police.
We in the JCF, we have all the latest technology and abilities in terms of what exists, but because of the CSI effect, the general public might believe that we're lacking in some tools and equipment. So yes, the exaggeration does lead to some misconceptions.
My only concern with those technology, comparing it to NSI,
is that the returns are not timely. But if we get those returns timely when we send in for information relative to an investigation, then it would be great. And the technology and science that we have working with, you will see some high-profile cases lately that seems unsolvable, and they were solved. Those technologies were applied. But I guess the problem is that it is the amount of requests that we are making from these entities, and it creates a backlog. But the technology, believe it or not, is nearly like NSI.
Securing witness statements are also difficult. Likewise, dealing with citizens who show little or no regard for the crime scenes and the preservation of critical evidence. Even with little guarantee of advancing a case, detectives pointed to the many hours they invest, which cannot be avoided. Detectives also getting the title as time wasters who avoid hardcore policing under the pretense of being busy. Oftentimes even fighting hard for respect from rank-and-file members of the force.
As far back as a young police, I can remember, the typical detective you say, well, they're just simply police officers wearing plain clothes, looking fancy, not doing much work. But it is the total opposite. These are hardworking men and women who are required to go above and beyond the call of duty.
Being a detective, you do not do as much work as the average police officers.
Back then, and even though some persons used to say that the detectives are all the detectives always dress up in pretty clothes and big guns by your side. But on the contrary, it's a lot of work. It's a whole lot of work as a CID person.
The JCF continues its journey to educate the public on its transformation. For CVM News, I'm Damon Phillips.
Now, unity took center stage in Waterhouse through football in a celebration of peace, with support from the San Myrna Foundation, the St. Andrew South Police, and the Strong Fathers Foundation. A spirited match proved when hearts come together, healing begins. Nika Lewis sums it all up.
The once gritty community of Waterhouse in Kingston came alive on Sunday as football turned into a force for peace, thanks to a powerful collaboration between the San Myrna Foundation, the St. Andrew South Police, and the Strong Fathers Foundation. The division's top cop, Senior Superintendent of Police, Damian Mandison, praised the initiative, calling it a critical step in building trust and unity between law enforcement and residents.
And get our young people involved in positive developmental activities. And so this is one. We have a host of others coming for the rest of this year, going into the new year, as we try our endeavor best to work with these partners to build a stronger platform. A part of this initiative about reaching out back to some of those youngsters whose fathers would have been killed in the past is something that we couldn't let pass. You know, we had to jump on that because, of course, we must seek to impact the reoccurrence of crime. And we have seen it that is generational, and it is also done through revenge killings and reprisals. And so we had to get on board with that. And so this is a good initiative.
Robert White, San Myrna's director, emphasized that real change starts when stakeholders invest in the youth and give them